Orion, the final battle. When trust is betrayed, humanity has only one choice left to fight until the very end. We are in the midst of the vast universe aboard a distant space station, facing a dire situation. The Orion space station, once a symbol of progress and peace, is now threatened by a grand conspiracy that few are aware of. Alex, the young commander, and Lena, the talented engineer, are working tirelessly to protect the station from those who seek to destroy it. But things are not as simple as they thought. When an alarm bell rings, Alex and Lena realize that this is not a usual attack, it is a life-or-death battle. Lena, we have to act right now or everything will be over, Alex said, looking at the notification screen, his eyes filled with determination. The flashing lights on the screen indicated that the attack had already begun. Lena, in her engineer's uniform, quickly approached the control panel, typing on the screen to check the defense systems. I'm double-checking the weapon systems, Alex, but it looks like we're being attacked from multiple directions at once. We need to find out who's behind this. Alex clenched his fist. There's no time left. We have to protect the station. We can't let them take it. This situation had surpassed anything either of them could have imagined. This wasn't just a regular enemy attack. It was a much more complex conspiracy one that could threaten the existence of a large part of the universe. Alex and Lena quickly realized that they would not only have to fight extraterrestrial enemies, but also face betrayal within their own team. As the attack reached its peak, Alex and Lena received an urgent message from the captain of a team assigned to protect the station. At first glance, it seemed like a routine situation report, but upon closer inspection, Alex noticed an anomaly in the data related to the attack's location. Part of their team, possibly a traitor, had leaked information to the enemy. Do you think I don't know? The cold voice echoed through the loudspeaker. It was the voice of Kale, one of the trusted members of the team. It's time to end this game. Alex looked up, his gaze sharp and cold. Kale, why are you doing this? You were an important part of us. Why betray us? He shouted, his voice filled with disappointment and rage. Kale sneered from the other side of the screen, his eyes glinting with defiance. You don't understand. It's too late now. Everything has been arranged. The space station will be ours. Lena, standing beside Alex, furrowed her brow. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. Kale, if you're planning to betray us, you won't just destroy this station. You'll plunge the entire universe into chaos. Do you understand that? We don't have much time to explain, Lena. Kale replied, his tone one of challenge. Now you only have one choice. Run or die. Alex clenched his fist, his eyes full of resolve. We're not running, and Kale, you will pay for this. The confrontation with Kale was not just a physical battle, but a mental struggle between loyalty and betrayal. As Alex and Lena prepared to face this challenge, they knew this was just the beginning of a much bigger storm. But they couldn't let these sinister plots prevail. Kale had left a heavy feeling in the air. Although the traitor within their ranks had been uncovered, Alex and Lena still couldn't afford to relax. The alien invaders were approaching the space station at a terrifying speed. The Orion station had only a few minutes to prepare before the enemy forces arrived. Alex, we can't do everything ourselves. This station has too many vulnerabilities. We need a plan. Lena said, her eyes glued to the screen displaying the invaders' coordinates. We can't rely on conventional defense systems anymore. They're too strong. Alex nodded, his eyes flashing with determination. I know, but we have something they don't. Intelligence and courage. They may have better weapons, but we'll make them pay dearly for it. Lena pulled up a strategic map of the station. She pointed to the weak points that needed to be protected and started planning the force distribution. We can use the space walls as shields. Our team will have to move through shortcuts in the station to attack from behind, catching them off guard. Alex thought for a moment before giving his orders. All right, here's our strategy. Team 1 will secure the main weapon systems. Team 2, you'll coordinate with me to block the alien warships from the outside. Lena, you'll monitor the shield systems and rapid response actions. Lena smiled, looking at Alex with eyes full of trust. Understood, but we need an element of surprise to gain the upper hand. What do you think about using the space armory? We can completely destroy the invading ships from outer space. Alex nodded. We'll use everything we have. Let's make sure they won't know what hit them until it's too late. The battle between the two forces, humanity and the alien invaders, was about to erupt in the vastness of space, where any mistake could lead to annihilation. But Alex and Lena would not back down. They would fight with everything they had and then some. As the battle was about to erupt, Lena discovered a threat that could not be ignored, a crucial clue that only she could recognize amid the chaos of signals and data. Despite the rapid pace and tension, Lena couldn't afford to overlook the small yet incredibly important details. "Alex, I just found something," Lena said, her fingers swiftly navigating the control panel, sliding across the space signals. "There's a special code being sent from inside the station. This isn't a normal attack. This is an intrusion into our system." Alex looked at her, his brow furrowed with concern. "What do you mean, what's going on?" Lena quickly pulled up a map and pointed to a specific spot. "One of the key locations in the station, that's where we're understaffed for defense. This could be where the traitor is operating. I think they're setting up a mechanism to open a gateway for the invaders." Alex clenched his fist, a surge of anger rising within him. "You're saying Kale could be behind this? He set up something like this in the station?" "Exactly," Lena said, her eyes filled with worry. "And not just Kale. If I don't stop this code, we won't be able to defend the station in the upcoming battle. There's no time. We have to stop it right now." Alex decided, turning to his team. "Lena, you'll handle disabling this code. I'll do everything I can to halt the attack from outside. None of us can fail." As Alex prepared for the battle, Lena headed to the control room, where she would face the toughest challenge of her career. She knew this was a battle not just of physical strength, but of intellect, and one wrong move could end everything. "We can do this, right?" Lena asked herself as she tried not to let her mind wander. She quickly typed the code into the system and stared intently at the screen as the numbers and characters rushed across it. Alex gazed out of the station's window, where the alien warships were beginning to form surrounding the station. Time had run out. He turned back, his voice resolute. "Together we will win." Time seemed to freeze in the silent vastness of the Orion station. Although Lena was working tirelessly to break the code, the atmosphere within the station was filled with tension. Alex, leading his combat team, was organizing defense formations along the station's corridors and passageways, preparing for the large-scale attack from the outside. Lena took a deep breath, her heart heavy with worry. "If I don't crack this code in time, everything will collapse. The defense systems will be disabled and will be invaded immediately." She whispered, her hands rapidly entering complex lines of code. Alex stepped forward, watching Lena for a moment before speaking in a calm voice. "Lena, don't let fear control you. You've already done the impossible. I believe in you." Lena looked up, her eyes filled with determination. "Thanks, Alex. But this time we'll need to do more than that. You and your teams will have to face them while I try to cut off this entry point." She didn't wait for a response, her fingers continuing to press the keys in total focus. Under the dim light of the control room, each character on the screen passed by like raging rivers. Every key press was accompanied by a small click signaling that she was getting closer to her goal. Lena knew that if she failed, the space station would no longer be a safe refuge. The entire station would fall into ruin as the alien forces invaded from the outside. But she also knew that even though life and death were a step apart, human perseverance would not be easily crushed. "Done," Lena whispered, her eyes lighting up as she saw the final code break. She felt a huge sense of relief, but there was no time to celebrate. The real battle had just begun. At that moment, an urgent message from the combat teams echoed in Alex's earpiece. "We're being overwhelmed only a few minutes before they breach the center. Immediate assistance needed." Alex didn't hesitate. He shot a fierce look at the team leaders, his voice as hard as steel. "We won't back down. Move forward. Everyone, take your fighting positions." Lena stood up, removed her earpiece, and quickly ran out of the control room. She knew her mission was complete, but the fight wasn't over yet. She had to get out there and join the battle. A blinding light flashed from the alien ships, signaling that the attack had begun. The invader warships targeted the space station with destructive weapons. Alex had finished preparing his defense formation, and now it was time to prove that humanity could fight against any force, no matter how powerful. "Let's show them who we are," he roared, his voice full of resolve. Outside, the alien warships began firing on the station's defense layers. The air was filled with explosions and flashing lights. Alex stood there amidst the hail of gunfire, his eyes fixed on the target. "No retreat, fight to the end," he shouted. Lena had arrived, joining Alex and the rest of the team. In space, amidst the flashes of gunfire, they fought not just for survival, but for the honor of humanity. Their friends and teammates had sacrificed for this cause, and they couldn't let all that effort be in vain. The battle between humanity and the alien species was now not only a struggle of strength, but a war of intellect, courage, and resilience. The battle between the human warriors and the alien forces raged at breakneck speed. The Orion station had turned into a battlefield filled with smoke and explosions where every step could determine life or death. The hurried footsteps of Alex and Lena echoed through the dark corridors amidst the blinding lights from the alien weapons. Lena was running alongside Alex without a hint of hesitation. "We'll have to finish this battle quickly or everything will collapse," she said, her eyes never leaving the combat display. "We can do it, Lena. Together," Alex replied, his voice full of determination. At that moment, a massive explosion erupted from the end of the corridor, and a powerful shockwave made the station tremble violently. Flashing lights flickered and alarm systems blared continuously. The alien warships were gradually breaking through the defensive layers. The enormous ships hovered outside carrying weapons of mass destruction, capable of obliterating an entire planet with a single shot. "We can't just stand here waiting," Alex shouted. "We need to strike back harder." Lena and Alex led the counterattack. Together, they coordinated with the team leaders of other squads to move to strategic positions. They not only had to face the invaders, but also the traps left by the traitor inside the station. The electrical and weapon systems were being continuously hacked, disrupting their plans. "Careful, there's a minefield ahead," Lena warned as she noticed a strange device on the control map. "Our defense systems won't stop them unless we stop decrypting it." Alex didn't hesitate. "We'll do that on the move, Lena. Keep going." The battle was intensifying. The alien ships showed no mercy, but humanity was displaying its unparalleled strength, not just through powerful weapons, but also through creative strategy and agility. Every time they attacked, the enemy was left stunned by the way humans handled their superior forces. "We're pushing them back," shouted a warrior from Alex's team, his eyes alight with excitement. "Team 2, keep up the defense." Lena kept observing everything on the control panel, adjusting tactics to fit the changing battlefield. While the alien ships continued their assault, the Orion station seemed like an impregnable fortress, at least for the time being. "Lena, how are we doing?" Alex yelled from behind, leading a charge against the alien forces. "I'm almost done disrupting their systems," Lena replied, taking a deep breath, feeling exhausted but still pushing forward. "Just a few more minutes and we'll be able to lock down their control systems." Alex looked toward her, nodding confidently. "Give it your all, Lena. Everything depends on you." Lena didn't need any further encouragement. She turned back and continued her work, her fingers flying across the screens, each line of code a race against time. But the battle was no longer just about defending the space station. A greater threat was beginning to reveal itself. A silent force from within was reaching out, and Kale's betrayal might be the biggest danger they would face. Just as Lena was about to finish the final line of code, a loud explosion erupted from behind. The station shook violently, the systems began to malfunction, and Alex saw a large door open, leading to a secret room he had never seen before. "Lena, be careful," Alex yelled when he realized something was wrong. Lena turned around, a surge of concern rising in her. She realized that everything wasn't as simple as they had thought. A deeper conspiracy was beginning to unfold, and this new threat wasn't just about the alien invaders. It was a danger from within their own team. The massive door creaked open with a faint whine, as if it were welcoming an appearance no one wanted to see. The blinding light from within the secret room made Alex and Lena squint. The signs they had overlooked, the warnings they hadn't recognized earlier, now became clearer than ever before. Lena hesitated for a moment, her eyes fixed on the widening door. "Alex, this isn't right," she whispered, a rising tide of unease swelling inside her. Everything suddenly felt more confusing and dangerous. Alex also felt the shift in the air. The space station was no longer a safe haven. It had become a trap. Everything around them suddenly seemed hollow, eerily quiet. Alex's eyes lit up as he realized something. "We've been lured here," he said, his voice low and full of concern. "This is the trap Kale set up." Lena swallowed hard, her heart pounding in her chest. She moved forward, gripping her laser gun tightly, even though she knew this weapon would not be enough to face the terrifying threats ahead. She could only hope for humanity's ingenuity in fighting spirit things, the alien forces couldn't easily comprehend. Maybe we still have a chance. Let's approach it carefully. Their footsteps echoed in the silence as they walked through the open door. The secret room was unlike any other area in the station. Everything inside appeared to be an old control room, but there were signs of destruction, broken equipment, and large cracks in the walls. Lena sensed something was off. The systems in this room seemed to have been altered to serve a different purpose. As they entered, a screen on the wall flickered to life, revealing an image of Kale, the betrayer, standing in another room. His eyes gleamed with self-satisfaction. "Finally you've arrived," Kale sneered. "I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. This station isn't the place you thought you'd win. Everything here has been prepared by me." Alex and Lena couldn't believe what they were hearing. Kale wasn't just a traitor. He was the mastermind behind this entire attack. But why had he done this? A part of them felt pain from the betrayal. Another part felt anger because what Kale had done threatened not just their lives, but the lives of all humanity. "Why are you doing this?" Alex asked, his voice faltering. "We fought together. We were teammates. What are you destroying all of this for?" Kale didn't respond immediately. He simply smiled coldly and continued speaking. "That's the problem, Alex. You humans trusted each other too much. Don't you see humanity always considers itself special, the center of this universe? But I've discovered the truth. Humans are just pawns, and I will be the one to control this game." Lena tightened her grip on the gun, but she couldn't let her emotions control her right now. She had to think of a way to handle the situation to stop Kale before he could carry out his plan. "We won't let you destroy everything. Never!" Lena declared, her gaze sharp and unwavering. Kale looked at her and smirked. "You can fight, but you'll never understand the full story. Your so-called victory is nothing but an illusion." But just as Kale prepared to continue, a strong tremor shook the room. An explosion rang out, and everything in the room began to collapse. Blinding lights flashed throughout the space. Alex and Lena rushed out of the room, not daring to look back, knowing that a new battle had just begun. The Orion station was no longer safe. Kale had played his game, and now they had to face it all. "We need to stop him, Lena. There's no other choice." Alex said, his eyes burning with fury. Lena nodded, determined not to back down. She had seen a greater truth, and now it was time to protect everything they had. Humanity might not be perfect, but one thing was certain: they would never give up. The race against time had never been more intense. The Orion station, once a symbol of humanity's remarkable progress, had now turned into a brutal battlefield where everything could collapse in the blink of an eye. Alex and Lena had no choice but to fight for their survival, as well as for everything they held dear. "We can't let Kale achieve his goal," Lena said, her eyes filled with determination. "He's not only betrayed us, but he also threatens this entire galaxy." "Exactly," Alex replied, his eyes blazing with anger. "He's not just invading this station, he wants to control all the stations and the forces around us. We need to stop him before it's too late." Lena quickly took the lead, guiding Alex through the destroyed corridors, now turned into dangerous zones. Flames burned and debris scattered everywhere, but neither of them could afford to stop. They knew Kale was somewhere nearby, and if they didn't stop him in time, it wouldn't just be the station at risk, but the entire defense system would collapse. "We need to get to the central control room," Alex said. "From there we can shut down all the systems Kale has installed. He's surely using these devices to launch a larger invasion." "We need to get there quickly," Lena said, her voice urgent. "If he's really activated the command, we won't have much time left." They rushed toward the control room, where only a few remaining staff stayed behind to protect it. One of them ran toward them as they neared. "Alex, Lena," he panted. "We can't stop the systems. Kale has taken control of the entire station's defense and weapon network. There's very little time before he launches an attack from within." "Thanks," Alex replied briefly, then turned back to Lena. "Lena, are you ready?" Lena didn't answer immediately. Instead, she opened the control screen and quickly input commands, her eyes scanning the indicators and source codes. "I've found a way to stop the control program," Lena said, her voice tense but calm. "But Kale has set up a failsafe. If I stop the program, the weapon systems will self-destruct." "We have to do it," Alex decided. "There's no other choice." As Lena began the decryption process, alarm signals blared once again. The entire station trembled, and an emergency alert from outer space came through. An alien army was preparing to attack from a distance. Alex and Lena knew that if they didn't stop the defense systems in time, they wouldn't have a chance to save the situation. Everything was slipping out of their grasp, but they couldn't give up. Lena, if we don't stop this system, the station will collapse instantly. Do you think you can do it? Alex asked, his voice filled with worry. Lena nodded, but the anxiety in her eyes was hard to hide. We can do it, but I'll need a few more minutes. You and the team need to hold the defense. While Lena continued to work, Alex turned and commanded his team. The sliding doors opened, and the defense team stepped out fighting with unprecedented courage. They knew there was no choice but to win. We can't let Kale win, Alex shouted over the intercom. Fight to the end. The atmosphere of the battle grew even more tense. All attention was focused on the central control room. As long as Lena finished the decryption process, they would be able to destroy Kale's devices and stop the alien invasion. Lena couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Every decision she made now could mean life or death for the entire station. She pressed the keys, the lines of code flashing up and disappearing quickly. She couldn't let any more time slip away. Done! Lena finally exclaimed, her eyes lighting up with joy. The system has been completely shut down. At the same time, a loud explosion rang out from space. The alien warships began losing communication and descended into chaos. The invading forces suddenly lost contact with each other and had to retreat. The battle was not only a fight for survival, but a war of intellect and unyielding strength. Alex and Lena stood panting, but the sense of victory filled them. They had done it. But they both knew this was only the beginning. A greater danger, a far more terrifying threat still awaited them ahead. Although the victory over the alien army was a significant breakthrough, Alex and Lena knew the war was far from over. Even though the defense systems had been restored and the Orion station was temporarily safe, they couldn't ignore the greater danger lurking behind Kale's betrayal. For them, the threat didn't just come from the alien species, but from within their own ranks. From Kale, who had led them into a deadly trap. Do you think you've won? Kale appeared again on the screen, this time from a dark room, his face radiating smug satisfaction. You've just been playing my game, Alex. Don't celebrate too soon. Lena stared at the screen, her brow furrowed. You still don't get it, Kale. You've already lost. Don't pretend like you can win when this battle is over. Kale sneered. No, Lena. You've never seen the true extent of my power. This is just the beginning. I've formed an alliance with powerful forces out there, and you'll have to face that. This isn't just your battle. It's a battle for the entire galaxy. Alex and Lena exchanged a worried glance. Kale was no simple adversary. Not only had he betrayed them, but he was also orchestrating a complex network of unimaginable threats. Everything they had done so far wasn't enough to secure the station. They were up against a global war where alien forces and traitors were waiting for the opportunity to destroy everything. You haven't seen the full picture, Kale. Alex said, his voice cold. Humanity will never surrender. We'll fight to the end. We can win, Lena. Alex continued, turning back to her. No matter what, no one can break humanity's resilience, and no one can defeat us. Lena nodded, her eyes filled with determination. She had seen too many sacrifices and too much suffering in this war. But one thing was certain: she couldn't give up. The entire space station was on the brink, but they would fight to protect everything. Although Kale had powerful allies, humanity's victory was never going to be an easy feat. It was the result of intellect, sacrifice, courage, and trust in each other. These were things that no enemy could defeat. We need to prepare for what's coming next, Lena said, her face tense. If Kale really has an alliance with alien forces, we won't just be facing these invaders, but a much larger war. Alex nodded. That's right, but we can do it. Together we will win. With unwavering resolve, Alex and Lena led their teams into new battles. They had to prepare to confront threats not only from the alien invaders, but also from the powerful forces lurking behind the dark alliance Kale had forged. Each battle would not just be about the survival of a space station, but the future of the entire galaxy. And humanity would fight not only to protect themselves, but to safeguard freedom and justice. This battle had turned into an unyielding war. It was no longer just about stopping invaders. It was a war to protect everything humanity had built. Lena, be ready. This will be the biggest fight we've ever faced. Alex said, his voice strong and full of determination. We won't give up. Lena responded, looking at the space station that had taken so much damage but still stood firm. We will fight to the end. The battle had evolved from a mere confrontation between humanity and alien forces into a fight for survival for the entire galaxy. The threat from Kale and the forces he was aligning with had become clear. The alien warriors were no ordinary invaders. They were equipped with advanced weapons and highly intelligent tactics. Kale's army, with support from alien civilizations, could easily destroy any opponent if there wasn't a strong resistance. Alex and Lena had prepared for this war, but they knew it would be a much greater challenge. It wasn't just about protecting the Orion station. It was a fight against the very beliefs and values of humanity, the ones Kale had tried to suffocate. We need to learn more about Kale's army, Lena said, her eyes filled with determination. If he's allied with alien forces, we need to know who our enemies are. Alex nodded. We have to find their weaknesses. If not, we won't have a chance. They spent a significant amount of time gathering information on Kale and the forces he was allying with. The previous attacks had only been the tip of the iceberg, and now they were preparing to face powers that could destroy everything. But no matter how powerful their enemies were, they would never give up. They were humans, a species that had never been defeated by any adversity. Lena, we won't back down, Alex said. No matter what, we will fight to protect everything we've built. Lena smiled, her eyes as sharp as a blade. I'm ready. Together we'll show Kale that humans are not pawns to be manipulated. Lena quickly got to work upgrading the defense systems of the Orion station. She had to work swiftly and efficiently, knowing that even the smallest mistake could lead to the station's destruction. The combat teams had been mobilized and were ready for battle. But what Alex and Lena didn't anticipate was a major event that was about to unfold. As the station's systems were being rechecked, an unexpected signal from outer space came through. An emergency message was transmitted from the control center. The invaders are approaching with a massive army. The survival of the space station and the entire system is in grave danger. Lena, how's the situation? Alex asked, his eyes glued to the screen as the station's defense parameters started triggering alarms. Our systems have been upgraded, but they're not fully stabilized yet. Lena replied, her eyes focused on the data. We need more time to finish everything. Alex knew there was no time to wait. He turned to the combat teams. Everyone get ready, the enemy is approaching. This is the final battle. We will not retreat. Fight to the end. Lena and Alex both felt the weight of every word. The alien army was close, and this was the moment to prove that humanity would not be easily defeated. Not just with weapons or tactics, but with their indomitable will and unbreakable unity. Together, we will win. No one can take us down. Alex said, his determination as firm as steel. Lena smiled and walked out of the control room. She was ready, so was her team. The two of them headed toward the central control room where the decisive battle would take place. And from there, they would face a life-and-death struggle, not only for the Orion space station, but for the survival of humanity itself. But suddenly, a dark shape streaked across space, signaling that everything wasn't over. The alien warships had arrived, and this time they weren't just here to attack. They were here to annihilate. We have to do everything we can, Lena said, gripping her laser gun tightly, her voice full of resolve. No retreat, Alex replied, his gaze blazing with strength. I believe in us. Humanity will triumph. This battle had become a fierce showdown between two worlds, between humanity and the alien forces, and more than that, a fight between life and death. The Orion station was no longer just a strategic point. It had become the symbol of humanity's survival in a hostile universe. Alex and Lena, along with their combat team, knew that if they couldn't defend this station, everything would be over. The alien warships were drawing closer by the minute, each one equipped with powerful weapons capable of completely destroying the station in seconds. Alex's team quickly organized the defense, utilizing all the advanced weaponry humanity had developed. But they also knew that victory wouldn't come just from weapons or technology. It would come from strategy, from the resilience and courage of the people fighting. We must hold the main defense lines, Alex commanded, his voice firm and full of resolve. Lena, how are the defense systems? Lena, standing by the control panel, was deeply focused. The systems are ready, but we need to use them wisely. If not, we won't stand a chance against their massive fleet. Everyone prepare yourselves. Alex lowered his voice, his eyes sharp as blades. They don't know that we'll fight with everything we have. At that moment, the alarm screen lit up, warning the entire station that the alien army was very close. Shockwaves from the alien warships slammed into the station's defense layers, making the space tremble. But humanity, with all its courage and unity, would never yield. Together we will win. No one will give up, Lena said, her voice resolute. She glanced at Alex, and in their silent exchange, they conveyed their unwavering trust in one another. Together we will do it, Alex replied, stepping forward to lead. The battle began immediately. The alien warships relentlessly attacked the station with bright streaks of fire cutting through space. But humanity, under the leadership of Alex and Lena, fought back fiercely. The station's weapon systems activated, hitting the invading ships with precision. Every shot, every defense was a fight for the station's survival. "We can't stop. We must fight with everything we've got," shouted a soldier from Alex's team over the intercom, followed by the loud blasts of laser fire. "They're getting closer." The alien warships continued to charge at the station, but they didn't expect humanity to have a strength greater than anything they had anticipated. It was the fighting spirit, the belief in each other, and the determination not to give up in the face of death. "Lena, where are the weapon systems?" Alex asked, not looking back. "Under control," Lena responded, her hands moving quickly across the controls, activating even stronger systems. "If they don't retreat now, we'll destroy them." The light from the attacks blazed brightly, but humanity's resilience would never fade. The alien army, despite its strength, couldn't understand that humans would fight not just for the survival of the Orion station, but for all the values they had built. A loud explosion rang out as one of the invading warships was taken down, shaking the entire enemy line. Alex looked at the screen, his eyes lighting up not because of the victory, but because he realized that this fight wasn't just about protecting the Orion station. It was to prove that humanity would never be subdued. "We won't retreat. Even if we must sacrifice, we will fight," Lena declared without hesitation. The warships kept attacking relentlessly, but humanity had a weapon the enemy could never anticipate: resilience in unity. In this battle, they would win not just with weapons, but with an unshakable determination. The scene aboard the Orion station had now turned into a cosmic battlefield full of chaos. The station's defense systems were constantly emitting powerful beams of light, firing at the alien army attempting to close in. The battle raged on fiercely, but one thing was clear: the human warriors were holding their ground, fighting relentlessly. "We've taken down 2 warships, but there are still too many," a soldier shouted over the comms, his gunfire relentless. "Our defense systems are overloaded." "It's fine, don't stop," Alex barked, his eyes fixed on the command screen monitoring the attacks. "All we need is time to destroy their mothership. We have to hold on a little longer." Though the defenses were gradually weakening, humanity's will remained unshaken. Each team leader inspired their warriors to fight on. They hadn't retreated, and they would never give up. Every bullet, every shock wave fired from the alien ships was blocked, but the enemy's weapons seemed endless. Lena stood firm in the control room, quickly adjusting the parameters. The system readouts on her screen flashed warnings that the station was in danger. She couldn't just sit idly by. Every passing second could be a deciding moment. "Alex, I can do it. Just a few more minutes," Lena shouted, her voice full of determination. "You and the team have to hold on a little longer." Alex didn't reply, only nodding firmly. He knew the responsibility he carried, not just to protect this station, but to protect humanity against the powerful forces outside. "Team, keep fighting. Don't let this station fall into their hands." "Hold your ground," Alex shouted again, igniting the fighting spirit of everyone. "We are humans, and we will not be defeated." The combat teams continued to hold key positions on the station, resisting the continuous waves of attacks. However, the invading forces still showed no sign of letting up. They began deploying even more destructive weapons, causing the Orion station to tremble violently. "We need a counterattack, or we won't be able to hold the station," Lena cried out as her fingers continued to operate the systems. "We can't hold out much longer." "Do whatever it takes to stop them," Alex replied quickly. He realized the situation was spiraling out of control. With each passing second, the strength of the invaders grew. Lena looked at the screen where the alien army's signals filled the space. She had little time left. Everything depended on whether she could activate the station's self-destruct nuclear system. If done correctly, it could be the only way to save the station from destruction. But if she made a mistake, both the station and everything aboard would be wiped out in a wave of devastation. "We have to sacrifice," Lena said, her gaze filled with worry. "I can activate the station's self-destruct nuclear system. It will destroy all the alien warships, but we only have one chance." Alex looked at her, his eyes resolute and fearless. "Do it. If we can't protect this station, at least we'll make them pay." Lena immediately began entering the command codes into the control panel. Time seemed to stand still, but the explosions and roars from outside only intensified the tension in the air. She knew this was the biggest decision of her life. 5, 4, 3, 2. She silently counted in her head as the internal systems of the station began to activate. A loud explosion rang out from outside, as if all the invading warships had been annihilated in a single wave of destruction. The station shook violently, and the alarm screens lit up, displaying a full range of system failures. The Orion station was now completely silent. The alien warships were no more. But when Alex looked at the screen, he realized that although they had won this battle, what lay ahead would be far more brutal. "We've won, but it's not over, Lena," Alex said, his voice firm. "This is just the beginning." Although the Orion station had survived the brutal attack, Alex and Lena knew that the war was far from over. A thick silence enveloped the station, but in that silence they could clearly sense a new threat quietly drawing near. The alien warships had been destroyed, but the forces behind Kel were not completely defeated. Stronger forces were waiting for the right moment to strike again. "We've just won a battle, not the war," Lena said, her eyes full of concern as she watched the screens shift from alarm mode to a more stable state. "They won't give up easily. Kale is still out there." Alex looked toward the station, his heart filled with resolve. "That's right, but we've proven that humanity will never give up. We won't let this station or anyone fall into the enemy's hands. All we need to do now is prepare for the next assault." Lena nodded, though the worry on her face was still evident. "Do you have a plan?" "First, we need to fortify the defense lines. That's crucial. After that, I think we have to go after Kale directly. He's hiding somewhere, controlling everything from the shadows. If we don't eliminate him, we won't be able to rest easily," Alex replied. Lena looked at the control screens where the readings were stabilizing but not fully. "All right, I'll start working on re-establishing the defense lines, optimizing the system's energy. But we need to move fast. This station can't withstand another large-scale attack." Alex stepped closer to her, his gaze never leaving the screens, but his voice remained resolute. "Exactly, Lena. And there's one more thing. We can't just defend the station. We need to strike back, force Kale out of the shadows." "We need a detailed plan," Lena said, stopping and turning to look at Alex. "If we attack blindly, we'll easily fall into Kale's trap." "We won't make the same mistake again," Alex asserted. "Kale may have alien forces helping him, but we have something he will never understand: loyalty, mental strength, and the resilience of humanity." As Lena continued working on the systems and Alex coordinated the defense teams, a long shadow loomed over the Orion station. Everyone knew that if they didn't act quickly, the dark forces would continue to push them to the brink of despair. At that moment, an emergency communication from the space satellites came through, grabbing everyone's attention. "A massive mothership has been detected approaching the Orion station at high speed. Estimated time of arrival, 30 minutes. Lena and Alex exchanged a glance, their eyes speaking the same understanding that it was time to act. "Prepare everything immediately. Defense systems, attack strategies, everything. We don't have much time." Alex ordered, his voice low and serious. "Understood," Lena said quickly, working the control panel. "I'll optimize all the weapon systems and accelerate the energy recovery process. We have to hold out as long as possible before launching a counterattack." "Then let's fight with everything we've got," Alex said, his eyes sharp. "This is the final battle. We won't let Kale and those alien forces win." In the next 30 minutes, Alex and Lena's team was ready. The defense lines had been reinforced and optimized, the weapon systems reactivated and adjusted. The Orion station was now not just a safe refuge, but a fortified stronghold in the vastness of space, prepared to face any enemy. "Whether we face the enemy or not, we'll do everything to protect humanity's survival," Alex said with determination in every word. Lena stood beside him, pressing the final button on the screen. Together we will win. The battle was near, and this time humanity wouldn't just fight to protect their space station, but to safeguard the future of everything they held dear. As the decisive hour approached, Alex and Lena, along with their team, stood ready at their defense positions aboard the Orion station. Everyone knew that this battle would not just be a fight to defend a space station or a planet, but a fight for the survival of humanity itself. The alien army was no ordinary invader. It was a force capable of destroying everything in its path. "We don't have much time," Alex said, looking around at his team. "The defense lines must hold strong. Everyone will need to rely on each other more than ever. If we hold this station, we'll have a chance to strike back at Kale and put an end to his plot." Lena stood beside him, her eyes fixed on the display screens, the defense systems now fully prepared. "The weapons and energy systems have been boosted, but I'm not sure how long we can hold the front lines. If Kale's forces attack harder, we'll need to come up with an immediate counter-strategy." "Don't worry, Lena," Alex replied, giving her a confident smile. "If there's one thing humanity isn't lacking, it's resilience. We won't back down. Together we'll fight to protect everything we've built." The atmosphere aboard the Orion station was charged with tension, yet also filled with determination. The warriors were ready in their defense zones, their weapons fully charged, and the light from the weapons systems shining like the final beams of hope. Each person in the team knew that this could be a battle for their lives, but they also knew they couldn't give up. 30 minutes, Lena said, looking at the countdown clock on the screen. "In 30 minutes, the alien army will be here. We must be ready to face them." "Don't hesitate," Alex ordered, his eyes sharp. "Everyone hold steady and prepare for battle." As the alien mothership appeared on the radar, the air aboard the station grew eerily silent. On the screen, images of the massive warships loomed in space like dark shadows, preparing to engulf everything. "They've arrived," Lena said, her voice filled with tension. "We won't be able to stop this attack without a solid strategy." Alex clenched his fist and stood tall. "We've never backed down before. Today will be no exception. Everyone prepare." Lena quickly checked all systems, ensuring the weapons, defense, and energy systems were optimized. The enormous alien warships were now closing in on the station, and in just a few minutes the war would begin. "This battle is not just about fighting the enemy," Alex said, his voice deep and resolute. "This is a battle for our future, for everything humanity has built. We will never let them destroy it." The Orion station had now become the final battleground. As the invaders began firing on the station, powerful shock waves from their weapons slammed into the defense layers, causing the station to shake violently. The explosions and bright flashes from the attacks made the space around them seem to blaze with intensity. But Alex and his team did not falter. They fought not just for themselves, but for everything humanity had built. The human warriors fired back with precision and power, repelling each wave of attacks from the alien warships. "Don't stop, keep firing," Alex shouted over the intercom. Lena stood beside the control panel, her eyes scanning each signal, quickly analyzing the situation. "We've taken down a few warships, but we can't let our guard down. The alien forces are still pressing the attack." The alarm signals continued blaring, but Alex's team didn't stop. They fought to the last breath without hesitation. The Orion station had witnessed the boundless sacrifice and courage of these humans. With each second, each minute, this battle became a part of human history. "Lena, prepare for a counterattack." Alex ordered, his gaze unwavering. Lena quickly activated the ultimate weapon system, preparing for a powerful strike against the alien mothership. A wave of bright light shot from the weapon systems, destroying all enemy warships within range. "We did it!" Lena sighed, her eyes still fixed on the screen. But even though the battle was nearing its end, Alex still felt a greater threat looming. Kale, the traitor, was still out there, and this war, while it might be won, would never end until his scheme was crushed. "This isn't the end," Alex said, his voice firm. "We've won this battle, but the war is far from over, and Kale will pay for what he's done.